What happens when you're abandoned, lost, without food, water, or hope? In the blazing red sunset of the Midian desert, where the sun scorches and the sandy winds cut into your flesh, a woman wanders, alone. No family, no future, only pain and silence remain. Her name is Hagar, an Egyptian servant cast out from the tent of the patriarch Abraham, pregnant and solitary in a land of death. Yet, in that moment of seeming despair, when every door of hope slams shut, right there God sees her. El Roi, the God who sees me. Not the powerful, not the mighty, but a forgotten woman. Hagar doesn't merely survive. She is promised a future, a great nation born from the very child the world rejected. This is no mere ancient tale. It's a testament to a timeless truth. No one is beyond the reach of grace. Follow our channel to uncover the untold story of courage and redemption. In the Midian desert, as darkness begins to swallow the last light of day and sandy winds sweep through scattered tents like silent ghosts, a small fire flickers inside the tent of the patriarch Abraham. Within there are 3 souls, but only one carries a loneliness that pierces to the bone. Her name is Hagar. Hagar, an Egyptian servant, has no noble lineage, no divine promise, no place in the legendary tales of the patriarch. She is merely a young woman, brought from a distant land to serve Sarah, Abraham's wife. In that household, she is the lowest, voiceless, choiceless, her heart unnoticed by all. Sarah, though bearing God's sacred promise to become the mother of nations, has waited too long. Years slip by, her womb remains empty, and her faith fades. In desperation, Sarah does what seemed right in that ancient time. She offers Hagar to Abraham. "Take her," she says, her voice is parched as the land they inhabit. "Perhaps through her, I will have children." No one asks Hagar. No one cares if she consents. For someone like her, freedom is not a thing to demand. And so Hagar steps into a role she never chose, bearer of the patriarch's bloodline. She conceives. But the child in Hagar's womb is more than a fragile life. It is a symbol of power, a shift in the balance within the tent, where silence once offered refuge. Hagar begins to look at Sarah differently, no longer with bowed head. And Sarah, who granted her this role, now feels threatened. Jealousy flares like a sandstorm in the dead of night. Abraham, the mediator, steps back. He leaves the 2 women to face each other in the tent. And as was common in that ancient world, the one with greater status prevails. Sarah torments Hagar, breaking her spirit. Unable to endure, Hagar is cast out once more, not back to Egypt, but into the wilderness, pregnant, with tears and shame mingling in the dust. Will Hagar find a way out? This question is not just for her, but for anyone who has ever felt like an outcast, used and then discarded. Hagar, a nameless woman, is swept into the winds of destiny surrounding a family called God's friend. But she had no mere footnote. Her pain, her quiet defiance, her desperate flight, these are what make the heavens take notice. And it is there in the desert, where hope is often swept away without a trace, that Hagar will meet the one who sees all. But that is the story of the next chapter. For now, pause before the dying fire in the tent. See Hagar from behind, her hand resting on her swelling belly, her eyes no longer proud but brimming with tears. She is no queen, no prophet. She is just a woman trying to survive, seeking a place, a way out amidst invisible walls built by prejudice and injustice. Yet even in that darkness, a faint spark glimmers, a possibility, just a possibility, that her story is not over, that the God who crafted the heavens and the earth cares for a forgotten servant. And if he sees Hagar, could he see you? The desert night wind cuts like a frozen blade, howling through the dunes of Midian. The sky glitters with stars, but the earth below is cold and merciless, no place for the frail. In that darkness, a woman stumbles forward, limping, pregnant, her eyes dry, for her tears ran out long ago. Her name is Hagar. She was not born to be part of the patriarch's story. Yet now, her life is becoming a crossroads between humanity and God. For being cast out from her only refuge, she was a servant in the tent of Abraham and Sarah. But bearing the patriarch's child turned her into a thorn in the eyes of the woman who was once her mistress. Sarah, who thought she could control the story by offering Hagar to Abraham, now finds herself diminished and bitter before the servant's growing womb. Sarah's jealousy is not confined to her gaze. It spills into venomous words, senseless demands, and cruel acts veiled by the cloak of authority. Hagar is roused in the dead of night to toil, left hungry, humiliated, called the arrogant maid for daring to lift her head. Abraham, who once placed his hand on her belly as if acknowledging the life within as his own, now stays silent. When Sarah unleashes her wrath, he turns away. "She is yours," he says coldly. "Do what you think is right." And so Sarah is free to torment. No one sees Hagar's tears fall in the night as she forces herself to endure for the sake of her child. But each passing day, the pain rises like sand bearing her feet, like wind shoving her frail body. One night, Hagar slips away from the tent. No farewells, no possessions, just a wounded soul, an incomplete mother seeking freedom in the dark. She flees into the wilderness, where there is nothing but sand and stone, where the cold seeps into every vein. She carries no water, no food, no direction, only a womb growing heavier and a pain 100 times heavier still. The pain of betrayal, the pain of knowing she was merely a tool in others' hands. When her body gives out, Hagar collapses beside a small bush where the wind howls as if to erase her existence. The night is thick and silent, terrifyingly so. No human voices, no sound of camel steps, only the choked, dry sobs breaking from her fragile chest. And in that place where it seems God has turned away, Hagar begins to pray. It is not the polished prayer of patriarchs. It is a cry from the depths of her soul. "Lord, if you truly see, then see me. I am not the mother of a nation. I am only a woman, abandoned, wounded, forgotten. If you see Abraham, if you see Sarah, then see me too." The wind still blows, but something is shifting. Not around her, but within Hagar. In the pitch-black void of the desert night, she senses a presence. No one touches her, but a quiet light shines from within. A silent warmth creeps into her heart. No words sound aloud, but a clear message etches into her mind. "I see you." No one has ever said this to Hagar before. No one has ever acknowledged that she has worth, feelings, a soul yearning to be touched. But now, in the depths of despair, a presence has come, not with blazing fire or thundering voice, but with a quiet nearness enough to resurrect what was dead: hope. That night, Hagar is no longer alone. She is no longer just Sarah's servant or the womb carrying Abraham's child. She is a soul seen by God, called by name, understood. She will still hunger, she will still thirst, but from now on, she is no longer invisible. She is the one who is seen, and that is the beginning of all miracles. Have you ever felt like Hagar? Overlooked, wounded by those who should have protected you, pushed to the margins of your own story? If so, know this: you are not invisible. The one who saw Hagar sees you too. Dawn breaks over the Midian desert, its gentle light spilling across the cold dunes, still holding the breath of night. The barren land is draped in a sweet golden hue, soft yet vibrant, as if God is painting life anew from fragments that seemed withered. The silence is sacred, and in that stillness, a miracle unfolds. By a shimmering well, a woman sits motionless. It is Hagar, once a servant, once abandoned, once fleeing in pain and fear. The night before, she had surrendered, collapsing in the sand, pregnant, without food, water, or hope. But she did not die. An unseen presence held her in her final hour. And now, as the first light of the new day touches her gaunt face, another light sparks within her, the light of faith. At that well, an angel appears. No roaring thunder, no clouds of smoke or blaring trumpets, just a profound stillness that tells every fiber of Hagar's being, this is holy. The angel does not rebuke, does not accuse. He comes with something Hagar has not heard in ages, a question laced with compassion. Where is Hagar, and where is she going? In that presence, she knows she is seen. No longer a nameless servant, no longer a pregnant body used as a tool. For the first time in her life, someone calls her by name, and that name echoes like a declaration. That she still has worth, still has life, still is a person known by God. Hagar confesses she is fleeing from Sarah, from oppression, from the sting of betrayal. But what she hears next shakes her to her core. The angel does not urge her to keep running, does not open another path. He commands her to return, to go back to the place that broke her, to face the woman who wounded her, but not as before. This time she returns with a promise, a sacred promise from the angel's lips. Her descendants will be too numerous to count. The child in her womb will be a son, and his name will be Ishmael, meaning God had heard. The words pour like cool water into her parched soul. Not only does God see her, he hears her. He has heard her sobs in the night, her wordless prayers, the tears that fell into the sand and vanished unnoticed. He has heard. Ishmael will be a testament to a love that overlooks no one. Proof that God needs no high status or noble blood to bestow a promise. He chooses a woman cast aside to begin a lineage. He grants a lone mother a purpose beyond human understanding. And from that desert, a story of redemption begins. Hagar does not protest. She does not weep or doubt. She receives the promise like one saved from a sea of death. Her heart races, not with fear, but because for the first time, she feels truly alive. And there, in that dusty place, she calls God by a name no one has dared speak before. You are the great who sees me. No powerful man, no patriarch has ever named God this way. Only Hagar, a wounded woman, unnoticed by the world, is the first to proclaim a profound truth: that God is the one who sees all, even what others refuse to notice. The well where she sits now bears a new name: Bir Lahai Roy, the well of the one who sees me. It is not just a source of water for the body, but a symbol of revival for the soul. In the driest place, water flows. In the loneliest place, God's presence is clearest. And from that place, Hagar rises, not as a servant, not Asen a fugitive, but as a mother carrying a promise, a woman with restored dignity, a soul who has met the living God and been sent forth with a purpose greater than the pain she endured. She returns not out of resignation, but out of faith. She does not return empty-handed, but with a divine promise from heaven. She does not fear Sarah, for now she knows God shields her. She needs no validation from Abraham, for God himself has affirmed her worth. That courage comes not from external strength, but from the belief that she is loved, seen, and heard. And that is the greatest courage: to live again after rejection, to return to the place that hurt you, to prove that grace is stronger than the past. Hagar's story is for those pushed to the margins. It is an echo for souls running dry, waiting for a sign from heaven. It is a reminder that no one is beyond the reach of grace, that even in the harshest desert, a second chance can bloom. And if Hagar, the forgotten one, could be seen, heard, and sent on a mission, then so can you. God forgets no one, and in the light of a new dawn, he is calling you by name. In the blistering midday sun of the Midian desert, where the ground burns like fire and no tree casts a shadow, two small figures stagger through the dust, a mother and her child, Hagar and Ishmael. They have nothing left but each other, and even life itself is slipping away. Cast out from Abraham's household with no tent, no refuge, Hagar clutches her son, her heart shattered. The man who once touched her womb with hope now avoids her gaze as he hands her the last water skin. Sarah has won. Her voice, once trembling with helplessness, now rings sharp with power. And Abraham, called a friend of God, lets her go, not with love, but with silence. Hagar does not argue. She knows she cannot stay. But how can she leave, knowing the path ahead is only desert? The sand scalds her feet, the wind sears her skin like flames, each step a battle for survival. The water skin dwindles, then runs dry. Ishmael, the boy of the promise, no longer has strength to cry. His lips crack, his eyes flutter half closed, his head slumps against his mother's shoulder. Trembling, Hagar lays him under a scraggly bush, barely offering shade but the only shelter in sight. She cannot bear to watch her son die. Not like this, not this ending. She stumbles back a short distance away and collapses. No strength left to scream, no tears left to shed, only ragged breaths and choked sobs carried by the scorching wind. She has no words left to pray, but her soul is crying out. And then, in that endless void, amid the gasping breaths of despair, something happens. Not an earthquake, not thunder, but a voice from heaven. A call, gentle yet mighty, piercing through her anguish. Hagar, do not fear. Those words don't just lift her head, they awaken the part of her soul she thought had died. For the second time in her life, her name is spoken from heaven. And for the second time, God chooses a moment when all hope seems lost. I have heard the boy's cries. God does not scold her for giving up, does not blame her for her fear. He sees, he hears, and he acts. In an instant, Hagar's eyes open, not just her physical eyes, but the eyes of faith. Amid the dust where she saw only death, a well of water appears, a real well, not a mirage, not a delusion born of thirst. A stream of clear, cool water, as if it had always been there, waiting to be seen. Hagar rushes to it, scooping water into her hands, hurrying back to Ishmael. His lips quiver, his breath returns, and for the first time in their long journey, she laughs, a tear-streaked laugh, not from sorrow, but from wonder. Not because things are easier, but because God has not forsaken them. That well does more than save their bodies. It is a symbol, a reminder that in the place where God seems most absent, He is most powerfully present. He did not abandon Hagar in Sarah's tent, and now He does not abandon her in the desert. The one who saw her, who heard her, now acts for her. In the blazing silence of midday, God delivers justice, not with swords or armies, but with water for a mother and child rejected by the world. A well becomes a testament to a justice beyond human reach, justice from the Eternal One, for the weak, the outcast, the forgotten. Hagar does not merely survive. She lives to prove that no one is beyond God's mercy, that His promises are never forgotten, even when they are driven from tents, from cities, from the memory of men. Ishmael will become a great nation, as promised, and that desert well will forever stand as a reminder of a truth. God abandons no one. The story does not end there. It continues in lineages, in other journeys, in other tears that God still hears. But in that moment, Hagar overcomes her final test, not just thirst, but doubt. And her faith, though small, is filled by the hand of the Creator Himself. Perhaps you too are in a desert. Everything is dry, your faith is weary, and you wonder, does God see me? Does He hear my child's cries? The answer is yes. He saw Hagar, He heard Ishmael, and He sees you. The well is closer than you think, and where you see an ending may just be the beginning of a miracle. The sunset paints the barren desert red, the sun sinking behind distant mountains, leaving final streaks of light across a dusky purple sky. The sand lies still, untouched by wind. Gone is the fierce harshness of Midian, the desperate cries. In their place is peace, a peace born of souls who have endured trials, survived, and now rest in grace. In a land no one could have foreseen, Hagar and Ishmael find a home. Not the lavish tents of Abraham, not the soft beds of noble women, but a humble shelter where sand and stone intertwine, where a mother and son live by labor, faith, and memories of tears once shed at a desert well. Ishmael grows up amid the wind and sand, in the silence of the desert, and the quiet love of a mother who never surrendered. He has no father by his side, no proud lineage, no royal robes upon his shoulders. But in his hands are a bow and arrows, in his eyes a fierce will to shram, and in his veins the blood of a promise from the living God. He becomes a skilled archer, strong, free, the father of a great nation, just as the voice in the wind foretold. I will make your offspring a numerous people. No one thought a woman like Hagar could do this. A slave, an outsider, a voice with no right to speak. Yet she was the first to call God by a name both intimate and profound. El Roi, the God who sees me. Not Abraham, not Sarah, not those chosen from the start, but a woman cast aside. That name is more than reverence. It is a testimony. The experience of one driven to the edge of existence who, instead of being forgotten, was seen, was called, was saved. And from that redemption, a new chapter began. Not just for her, but for all who have ever wondered, does God see me? Hagar's story doesn't end in dazzling miracles. There are no resounding victories or glittering thrones, but it is the quiet triumph of a faithful soul. The triumph of a mother who never gave up on her son. The triumph of a woman who refused to let her past define her future. And that is why this story echoes today. In modern America, countless people feel like Hagar. Overlooked, undervalued, pushed to the margins of society, religion, or even their own families. People who believe they're merely side characters in someone else's story. But do you know, you too are seen. You are known. You are called by name. You may be in your own desert. You may have stumbled into a place with no drop of hope left. But if Hagar could rise, walk, and nurture like a future from a place of abandonment, so can you. If God opened Hagar's eyes to see a well when she thought she'd die of thirst, He can open a way for you right when you think every door is closed. El Roi, the God who sees me. This isn't just Hagar's title for God. It's a reminder for you today. No matter who you are, where you are, or what past you carry, you are not invisible to God. He sees you, He loves you, and He has a plan greater than the pain you bear. If you see yourself in Hagar's story, know you're not alone. You don't need power or high status to be loved or used in God's grand plan. All you need is a heart that refuses to abandon faith. Hagar was no princess, but she is living proof that God uses even the rejected to birth a nation. She didn't need the world's approval because she was seen by God. The story doesn't end. It lives on in every life like yours. If this message resonates, share the video, subscribe to the channel to uncover more forgotten stories brimming with the power of faith, redemption, and divine justice. Because sometimes in the places no one sees, God is preparing something extraordinary. And who knows, that something might be for you.